in the interview, you mentioned that Chalet was really fun because you were constantly adapting. And I think
Yep.
part of what this round shows is that Oakshi has thrown out a really weird strat here. Like, their defense has Dream on site alone, like two people holding library side, and then two people below, one of
Yeah.
which is the pulse. And, you guys took a bit of time to figure it out, and then once you figured it out, you adapted and pushed where OXG was not and won the
Okay.
round off that. So I think it just really well highlights what you talked about in your interview about like
Hmm.
having to adapt. And also I
Yeah.
just think it's a really interesting hold by OXG because like
Yeah. It's always cool to see something different.
yeah.
Even when you're playing against it, it's another like test. I'm sure it's not as fun for the players as it is for me, but
Oh yeah.
um, I feel like one of the things about coaching that's mistaken is like in the game, it's actually very difficult to have an impact because you really only have maybe 60 seconds the whole game to talk to your team, you know?
Yeah.
Um, and like the most important thing that you could provide for the team in those situations, I think, is just a strategic plan because like you could try your best to motivate someone in 30 seconds, but like it's kind of difficult, you know?
Yeah.
So you have to make that time really count. And I think that the way that you can make it count best is by providing like a strategic um, idea. And for their kitchen, like I called for interesting adaptation that like worked. It worked really, really well. But it was just based off what I saw like the first time that they played kitchen.
That's actually
Um,
perfect because I did want to talk about the second time you guys attacked kitchen.
the the Osa round.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah. But kind of focusing on this round, Spiker's already in bathroom. Dream is alone here. And then Fox burned his C4 early trying to get Ambi off of that master bedroom repel.
Yep.
And then just from here, you guys take Psych, and it's just pandemonium
Yeah, so
for.
this is a completely we do this kind of it's actually interesting because this isn't really an adaptation, I'll be honest. This is what we
Oh.
do most of the time when we play um this attack. So can I pull up a blueprint?
Oh, yeah, go for it.
So for top floor, like I forget who we played. Or I know who we played, but I won't say who it was that kind of inspired the idea.
Yeah.
Just for, sake of not giving things up.
Yeah.
But even though I'm giving our own things up. But basically, like the idea is similar to what we talked about earlier, where it's like we want to create as much pressure on the defense, without risking too much, so that they just feel this tremendous pressure all round long. And the cool thing with the site is the site's right here, and I think is the bomb right here. I think, yeah.
About there, yeah.
Or no, it's back here, isn't
Oh.
it?
Oh, no, no, no. You're right. You're right.
Yeah, it's back in the corner. Okay, it doesn't really matter. But like you get so much free real estate, right? Because of the windows. Because there's window here, windows here, doorway here, right? And this here, so this cuts off all of this. So the basic idea is like we want to fill these spots and just wait and make them peak, right? Because eventually they're gonna move, when they feel all this pressure, that you feel inclined to peak because you want to relieve the pressure, right?
Yeah.
If something's pushing on you, you want to push it back. You want to push it off, right? And it kind of resonates here as well. So we just want to have all these avenues basically to put pressure on them because they're going to play in spots like here, in here, here, maybe on the half wall. It's all points that like they just don't have much space to go. This guy can move about that much. This guy really can't move. This guy can't move either, especially if we have someone on K9. So we basically do that. We wait and we see what we get out of it. If we find a pick, great, awesome. We'll wait 40, 50 seconds, see what we can find. And as we're doing that, we're kind of gathering information, right? Like we're especially the bathroom guy. Because the bathroom guy has the bathroom and the K9 guy have the most ability to like immediately impact site. Right. We walk in and we can find trades. So these guys are basically just constantly like pieing and looking for information and then sort of just playing off of that, right? Seeing, okay, how much space can I take? Right. How deep can I get here? And then, having people on these angles helps
That's
these
kind
guys
of
do that. It
yeah.
helps
That's
these guys
the
do that because
cutoffs.
exactly this guy can tell. I guess Spiker in this case, he could say, okay, no one's here, right? So this space is all free, so he doesn't have to worry about that when he jumps in. This guy could tell him, oh, this is
Sorry.
so now like he has all this space just off intel from where people are positioned, and he could just go and make a play basically. So we wait around, we see if they peek into us. If they do, great, we get a free kill, or we should get a pretty free kill, and then we have a ton of time to just put pressure on them and sort of find our way into the map. Basically.
Sweet.
Yeah. Think of it like a snake.
Okay.
Whenever we had an attack that was sort of similar to that, we called it an anaconda basically. Because that's kind of the idea.
You're just choking them out slowly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so if we like look back here and you just look at the positioning, everyone's kind of on a window. Right? We're putting light pressure here, Ashen's outside K9, Ambi's on double window, Spiker's already outside bathroom window, and then we have someone on solar.
Yeah.
And we're just sort of looking around, probing, kind of finding space, seeing what's available to us.
And so I guess in that case, it's not that OXG setup was super weird that made you guys do this. This is just your default thing.
Yep.
OXG just had a different take on defending Master, and it didn't work out.
Yes. It didn't work out because they had people downstairs, and against this downstairs is kind of useless. Except telling them that we're on the windows, but they already know that.
Yeah.
Right, that's what the pulse can do. The pulse can say, hey, he's on double window. It's like, awesome, cool, thanks. As I'm getting shot by him.
Yeah.
But yeah, just look how much space Spiker has. And look how restricted Dream is here. He can't do anything. He can do absolutely nothing in this round. So he has to peek. He has to find a fight.
Up until they get the kill on Sweater, and Spiker's just walking in. An easy one on Dream.
And then Neo's just kind of cutting off on Highway.
Yep.
Kills come back.
And we go from there.
And
then for Fox, he's kind of boned because he threw his C4 early trying to relieve that Master window pressure, so he can't even play under to deny plant.
Yeah, that's the bane of Pulse, is like once you get in a retake position, it's really difficult. Like if you're banking on Pulse winning you the round, it's kind of, I'd say significantly out of meta right now, for sure. Like on defense, I feel now you have to win the round in the early round, if that makes sense. You have to win it in the first two phases of the round.
The early round and the mid round, and then late rounds just kind of like
it's
a roll
a
of the dice for the anchors to clutch up.
It's either a toss up for the defense or it's a really smooth attack win usually. Okay, so I'll tell you, it was really early that I saw that like, okay, this is gonna work. I think it was before the round even played out.
So what are your thoughts on the Maestro pick? Because he's kind of like very niche nowadays. He used to be super popular back in the 20-second meta days, and all of a sudden he's just seen once in a blue moon. Is this one of those sites where he still works?
I think this site is a good site for him for sure. I think one of the biggest things is him being a 3-speed, which is really taking him out because he's good. He's got really good gun. Okay, so this is actually, sorry, I'll continue on Maestro for a second. Yeah, really good gun. 2 bubbles, which is really nice. I think part of the reason why he's a bit less meta now is because we're out of the util meta phase. So, or util meta, I don't know why I said phase.
Yeah.
But in that, it used to suck that, you'd clear a bunch of stuff. You'd clear, 3 ADSs, you clear Wamais, you clear shields, and then late round you still have to deal with Maestro, right? Like,
yeah.
Whereas now you kind of always have utility available to deal with him. So his gadgets are just not as impactful.
Do you think there's any bulletproof camera power creep also hitting him? Because those things can see through smokes just as well. They have the EMP function, so there's like a lot of power creep there.
Totally.
So that's also part of it.
100%. Because you can get what Maestro gives you with 2 of your ops, right? Like if you have 2 people that bring bulletproof cams, which sure is a sacrifice, but like, you could certainly make it work. Like right now, Legion has bulletproof, so we could have gotten one on Legion, right?
Yeah.
There's just a lot of avenues to get information that Maestro previously was really good at, but now he's just kind of suboptimal, basically.
Yeah. He's not as unique as he was.
Yeah, because with a different op, it's only their secondary gadget, so you get their gadget, whatever that is, and then you probably get either a 2 or 3 speed. So, like, you don't get the Alda, sure, but if you need all those bullets to kill someone, it's kind of, you know. But actually, this is where I saw the adaptation that we can make pretty much immediately. So what interested me was this, right?
Yeah.
And it was just I don't feel like I've ever seen this before. If I did, it was probably in like an APAC game or something. And I don't really know the idea here from Oxygen, but what's difficult about attacking Kitchen is, or why you even want to hold upstairs for Kitchen, is to have the vertical play. Okay. Right, that's it. So, and that's completely denied here. They have this, and they reinforce off the hatch. So they have no vertical play. The only way that they could have vertical play is if they play for a retake, right? So they invite the pressure, maybe they get a pick, and then they double push up, and then they play vertical. But I don't even think they make the vert here. So what they're doing is they're just sitting back and inviting this pressure. What that says to me is, okay, dining is completely free. All they do is they have bubbles on it. That's what's watching it, and probably someone is watching it, or at least I'd hope, or they're watching it on cam. So all we have to do is take control up to here, put pressure here, make sure that they can't retake. We open this wall. We could play a little bit of vertical if we wanted to. We don't really have to. But other than that, we just go for a direct. Right? We just open the sight wall up. We use whatever we need to, because if there's anything on the wall, we can clear it from above because we have all this space for free, because this is reinforced so they can't put pressure, and we have this covered so they can't flank. So we open the wall up and then we just go for a direct. Now they have to deal with us for probably 2 minutes, just sitting on the sight wall, just waiting to hit the sight. But yeah, I could kind of.
Yeah.
I think we go for like what we would normally go for, which is pretty much a full clear.
Yeah, and I think
it didn't really work out for us. Okay, yeah, so this is where we're calling timeout. This is where I'm talking about it. I'm saying, first time they played a retake strat. They double reinforced the office wall. So all we need to do is take up the piano. We take piano, make sure that they can't flank, and then we go for a direct downstairs. So let's have people work upstairs. I don't remember exactly what I called. I probably said 2 people. 2 people work upstairs and then 3 people work downstairs, because we have to clear out the games area and we have to clear out the bar area and lobby. Make sure no one's flanking around downstairs. And then we trap those guys upstairs and we go for a direct. We could bring in Osa if we want. Right, just make sure that we have someone to clear the bubbles.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying right now, probably. And then saying some lackluster motivation in the last 3 seconds. Some version of come on, let's do this, you know. Yeah, I was proud of this adaptation, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good one, because I was definitely gonna ask about why OXG was reinforcing the master to office wall instead of the normal office wall.
I don't know. I don't know.
It was an interesting one, and it seemed definitely shaky.
I mean, I think the idea might be they want to play really to fall off top floor, and then like play downstairs really spread. That might be the idea. I'm not too sure. I was just happy that they did this. I thought that we were going to go into the round and they weren't going to do this, and I was going to be like,
well, there goes the adaptation.
Yeah, there goes that, and that whole timeout.
See how they take it.
But they're doing the same thing. They've got a really heavy setup. I think part of the OXG hold is also just they're expecting a lot of pressure that you're going to take beyond beyond office, and like try and clear them off of a bathroom and clear them off of master as well.
Yeah. So we're taking downstairs. I think Grayson is going to work up blue stairs.
Yeah. And I was also going to talk about just this entire match. You guys were consistently finding ways in and finding gaps to enter the building, so that OXG couldn't really contest you, which is sometimes harder than you'd think for some teams.
Yeah, I mean, that was a discussion we had because we felt that our attacks looked really bad at the end of SCS, and we felt that part of the reason why was we just weren't playing free enough. We were playing a bit too direct. We were kind of trying to force stuff, whereas what we used to be really good at was just sort of finding the space that was available to us and then making a play based off that.
Yeah. And so this is just
so-
grabbing more of that info. You know, Ambi and Ashen already burned their drones. Fireplace walls getting opened
Walls open.
at a minute and a half, so that's a lot of pressure. And you've got to
Exactly.
O's the shield there, so...
And we have this drone right here, if you could see it. This is going to be the drone watching upstairs. I think we do watch it actively, but this was the play. We're exactly in the position that we wanted to be in. And now I think someone's telling Ambi to clear the bubbles, if I'm not mistaken. I think you'll see him go clear the bubble in a second if it gets on stream.
I don't think it does, but you can hear it.
I think it might have just exploded, yeah. And now we're like, okay, we're ready to go for it.
And Fox is still...
Oh, no, now he is. There he is. He just cleared it.
Yeah. And Fox is still underneath, but he hasn't tried to go for a flank or anything. Is his role just to hold West Main, but not go for anything too active flank-wise?
Who?
Fox. He's playing on the West Main stairs right now.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I think that's... I'm not sure.
Yeah,
but,
can't be sure when it comes to the
best.
opposing team, but...
And in terms of how they were playing their strat, that kind of makes sense, right? We're just playing super lurky downstairs once we realize there's no top floor pressure, maybe.
Okay.
But yeah, I'd assume that that's what it is. But yeah, so we're exactly where we want to be.
Yeah, and Dream has to try and contest that with a gun or like impacts if he hadn't burned them trying to deny wall because the Maestro bubbles are down. And then this retakes top.
Where Ashen is really strong too, right? So one of the best methods to just kind of develop a default on a map or develop some idea of how you want to attack it is think about how to cut the map in half or cut the site in half.
Yeah.
So like we have Ashen out here, but yeah, he's going to be playing like outside of West Main for a majority of the round. And then he has the Zoe, so we could open up all the walls, and he has these nice, really long lines of sight into kitchen. So once we realize they're not in dining, if they're not, they have to be in kitchen, and we see a lot of kitchen. So like, again, they have such a little amount of space to move around. That's kind of the idea of most of our attacks is just choke them out. Like, do not allow them to have space or minimize the space that they can be. And there's that coming into play.
And so Nurs does retake office, but I think he was expecting there to be like more vert pressure done.
Yep.
And then he just gets picked off by Uzi, or was that Ambi? I think that was Ambi. Oh yeah, that's it.
Spiker,
no, that's Spiker. And then Sweater's kind of boned. 1v4 retake, 30 seconds on the clock with
Sweater,
one barrier. Like, he's got the gun skill, but that's just a rough one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's a good round to end on.
For sure.
I think, you know, just highlighting the kitchen adaptation is a really dope place to end. Anything you want to say to close out? Just shout outs or whatever?
I mean, again, shout out everybody on Aerial. It was a very fun ride. It was the coolest team that I was a part of. Definitely the best team that I was a part of. I very much enjoyed working with them, and you know, that's really it. So
sweet.